I have pimples on my face, so this hair is going to try and cover those pimples. Okay, hello and welcome to another video. Today we're talking about one of the most disputed subjects in politics and in society. That one subject in school which always began with, why exactly do we need to know this shit? Yes, my friends, we are talking about the big H, history. I studied history right up till 12th standard. Both academically and personally, I love living in the past. It is only now when I read other history books that I realize how entrenched we are with our perceptions and our beliefs based on what history we studied in our school. The history that was taught in our schools reduced caste to a footnote, hardly addressed women. It was the majoritarian history. And yes, now we start videos with existential questions. Why should I suffer alone? The lovely part about studying ISC history, yes, I'm one of those kids, is that we were never prescribed textbooks, and so we studied history books as study material. So, as we talk about history and the history of our existence, I thought why not suggest to you also some books that I have loved reading.
At the stroke of the midnight hour, when the world sleeps, India will awake to life and freedom.
Bipin Chandra became a household/classroom name. His two books, The History of Modern India and India After Independence, was like our holy grail in 11th and 12th. Those books have had so many pencil marks, so many post-its. So if you need a starter pack on Indian independence, I think these two books are a great place to start. Bipin Chandra makes facts easy, readable and memorizable. So if you want like a very basic foundation on Indian independence, I think these two books are an excellent way to start. Like you read this and then you can, get into the more nuanced bits of independence with books that are far more specific on like specific topics or events, etc. I have grown up in the multicultural city of Bangalore, but all that I knew about the South were the Cholas and Krishnadevaraya. In 11th and 12th, most of the history I was taught was dominated by what happened in the north or the east of India.
Travancore from the air. Procession led by an enormous elephant threads through the streets, and a wooden chest containing the Maharaja's jewels is escorted by members of his bodyguard and officers of state walking barefoot.
The Ivory Throne by Manu S. Pillai is a detailed account of the House of Travancore during the reign of Sethu Lakshmibai. Now, if you have not read history before or non-fiction before, if you want to start, I don't think this is the book for you because it is yay big. However, the research behind it is magnificent. It is a solid book. This book encapsulates the phrase truth is stranger than fiction so perfectly. Sometimes when you're reading that book, you're like, really? Also, I have a bias towards Manu S. Pillai because he's cute.
Between August 1947 and March 1948, 4.5 million Hindus and Sikhs are forced to migrate from Pakistan to India. 6 million Muslims must move in the opposite direction.
Partition birthed two nations and took many lives. And the manner in which we were taught partition was through the numbers. In Remnants of a Separation, Aanchal Malhotra provides humanity to those numbers. She chronicles personal accounts of people who have been through partition and talks about it through material memory. Now, if you want to start reading non-fiction or history, this is a great book to start with because it has just short stories about real people, and I think that is far more readable and this is far brighter than I ever imagined it to be. And it's also been written with sensitivity. Also, it has a very lovely cover and looks very good on a bookshelf. Now, speaking of Pakistan, deadly word that should only be uttered during cricket matches or by trolls on Twitter, Instagram and Facebook. Please don't come at me. A country that has been a part of our country, we know very little about their country. Empires of the Indus dissolves these borders. Alice Albinia takes us through a wonderful journey of her researching and discovering communities that live on the Indus River. She starts in Karachi and ends in Tibet, and it is a magnificent book. I love this book so much that when I was reading it every morning when I would wake up, I would get excited to read it. Everyone should read this book. This is also a great book to start with if you are reading history for the first time. Now, while studying history, we were taught about the Vedic period. Amongst all of these concepts was also the Chaturvarnas. It was taught to us as a fictional subject and not as a reality. And I didn't realize it then, and I am still learning now. I'm currently reading Annihilation of Caste by B.R. Ambedkar with an introduction by Arundhati Roy. I am 22 now, and this is the first time I'm reading Ambedkar. Just like all the other books in this list have opened my eyes up to something that I don't know about, this is doing the same thing. The only thing I wish is that I had read it sooner. I just think that these are books that I have loved reading. It taught me something. It made me rethink the things that I have been taught while I was in school. And I think it's very important that we read history for that exact reason. It doesn't need to change your worldview. You can read Ambedkar and not agree with him. You can read Aanchal Malhotra and say, no, partition doesn't sound like that. Or you can read Manu S. Pillai and say, no, that's not how it happened. You can say all of this, but read it nonetheless. I'm gonna stop talking now. Like, share and subscribe. Do all of those really nice things. Okay, cool. So I'm done. Bye.